where in the world is 5 actually greater than 6? The only place I've ever found is with the RX100, where version 5 is much better on a variety of different points than version 6. I'll give you 4 main reasons how. So the first reason that I think that version 5 of the RX100, which no doubt is an amazing 1-inch sensor, pocketable camera, capable of 4K video and 20 megapixel stills, great autofocus on both of them, but there are 4 main areas where the version 5 is much better than the version 6. First and foremost is the lens. The lens with its aperture of 1.8 to 2.8, 1.8 on the 24mm side and 2.8 on the 70mm side, just gives you better background, better rendering than the much greater variable zoom that starts at 2.8 on the 24mm end of things in version 6. The second major area that version 5 is much better is it has a built-in neutral density filter. This is a great 4K camera, decent for vlogging with the flip up screen. Although it doesn't have the touch screen, it's really not needed because it's a 1-inch sensor, and pulling focus on this is a little bit more sketchy. But at the same time, that neutral density filter allows you to shoot more on that 1.8 to 2.8 end. I can't imagine shooting with a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second, doing 24p 4K video out of this at 2.8 in bright sunlight with no neutral density filter. And on this, there's absolutely no way to screw a neutral density filter into the end of this camera. So that makes it almost impossible to use as a shallow depth of field vlogging tool. The third reason that I think the version 5 is actually better than the version 6 is people forget this has the clear image zoom factor. And so with clear image zoom, you're actually able to go beyond the 70mm length and keep that 4K video. And so that gets you out a little closer to 100mm on the far end of things. Granted, not 200mm, but it gets you a little further than you expect. So don't underestimate the abilities of clear image zoom. And then finally is the price point. $200 more, $1,200 total for a more limited camera in many ways, and simply just a little bit of a longer zoom range is just outrageous. You're getting up into the A6500 realm. You're $400 more than the very capable Panasonic pocketable 1-inch zoom that actually has a zoom up to 360mm. So if you want a long zoom range, that camera will get you a long zoom range, and for video, it gets close to 500, if not more than 500mm for $400 cheaper. Once again, that camera is limited by no built-in neutral density filter. However, that being said, it is a great camera and $400 cheaper. So if you want something that's got a good pocketable long-range zoom, check out the Panasonic offering of the 200. It's absolutely fantastic on paper at the very least. So those are the 4 reasons that I feel like the Sony RX100 Mark VI is more limited than the Mark V. I have been someone who's always gone after the new upgrade. I found that the upgrade from version 4 to 5 was actually great. The autofocusing is much better on the version 5. This is a great all-around camera, but Sony, you've let me down on this Mark VI, especially with that price point. So I won't be upgrading simply because I really like what I get out of this camera. That being said, there are some issues with the lens cover, as we've talked about before. Sony, I expect more from you. I'd like to see you come out with an A7S Mark III that actually gives us 60p and gives us the 10-bit video that we want internally on a full-frame sensor with just the low-light capabilities of the A7 III would be fantastic. But that's what we'd all really like to see. Don't let us down. Don't omit the 60p. Don't omit the 10-bit. Those are important things. A flip screen would be great, but I think that's probably too much to ask for. Anyway, in the RX100 world, 5 is greater than 6. Thanks for watching.